guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. So today we are going to be talking about cheat meals, refeeds, and diet breaks, and what they do, when you should implement them, why they are important, and all this good stuff. So, first of all, let's talk about what they are. So we're going to go over each of them individually. So first off, let's start off with the refeeds. So refeeds is like 1 or 2 days where you just increase your carbs. Typically your fat and protein stays the same. So you're increasing your carbs, and this is not a free-for-all. You're still tracking, you're still hitting your macros. So it's definitely going to improve your, not so much the mental aspect, a little bit of the mental aspect, but it's a lot more of like what is going on internally and helping out with the hormones, and we'll get into all of that later on in this video. So that's what a refeed is, so just 1 or 2 days increasing your carbs. And then a cheat meal is the free-for-all for one meal. So you have one meal where you just eat what you want, and this will definitely aid with the mental aspect of everything, and especially when you're kind of like craving everything and anything, and you'd almost eat your dog's treats. I've been there. Some of them smell like peanut butter. They're really good smelling. So that's when you're like really needing stuff. You're craving everything in the world. So that's a good time to have a cheat meal. And this one you shouldn't be tracking. You don't have to track your food. You can, I guess, if you want, but it's like, why, when you're working towards that mental break, why would you track? And then the other thing I wanted to say is when you are doing a cheat meal that day, you should make sure that you are getting your protein goals in. So that's like your one main concern, is just make sure that you're hitting your protein goals on that day. And then the last one is a diet break. So this is like 1 to 2 weeks off of your deficit. So there's 2 ways you can do this. You can just eat until you're full, but not overindulge too much, so that you're stuffed and feel like you're going to throw up after every day that you have eaten. So yeah, just eat, listen to your hunger signals, and eat until you are full. Or you can do an increase in your calories and macros and figure out what your maintenance calories would be, figure out your macros from there. Maybe increasing your carbs and then fat slightly. Your protein can probably stay the same if you're eating enough protein in the deficit, which you should be. Then yeah, so those are the 2 ways to do it. And really, whichever way that you decide to do it depends on how deep the deficit is, how your like history and mindset around food. So like if you have a history with binging, then maybe like doing the tracking method would be a better idea for you. Or yeah, so pretty much if you have been in a deficit for a while, then diet break is definitely a good one to go on. Another way that you can increase this with your decrease the deficit is to cut your cut your cardio times, maybe in half, or not do cardio so often. So that's obviously cardio is creating a deeper deficit for you, so that's a way to kind of decrease the stress that you're putting on your body, and I guess decrease the deficit. Yeah, so you'd be increasing your decreasing your deficit would be to decrease your cardio. So when should you be implementing these refeeds, cheat meals, diet breaks, any of them? I would say, especially for refeeds and diet breaks, I'd even say for cheat meals too, when you have been in a deficit for a long time, I'm not talking 1 week, I'm not talking 2 weeks, heck, I'm not talking 3 weeks. We're talking like 2+ months in a deficit. So once you hit like that 8 week spot, when you've been in a deficit for 8 weeks, that might be the time to be considering it. But of course, everything is individualized, so it really depends how deep your deficit is. If you're like in an extreme deficit, maybe prepping for a competition or something like that, then diet breaks might definitely be, and refeeds might definitely be more useful to you. If you're just kind of like you know, I'm in a 200 calorie deficit. You can probably go longer in the deficit, but it really just depends up to you, your goals, how deep your deficit is, how you're feeling mentally, because a lot of it is a mental thing. So I know that when I'm in prep mode, it's easy the first month. It starts getting complicated or difficult, but you know I have a long road ahead of me, so I'm still pushing through. Second month gets a little more difficult. By the third month, the cravings are real. I'm telling you about those dog treats. They smell delightful. So yeah, that's when you're starting to be like, well, maybe I should do a little bit of a diet break or a refeed, give myself a little more room to indulge a little bit, because I do practice a flexible dieting. So even on prep, I was eating Taco Bell, I ate Chipotle, I ate donuts, I ate IHOP, and for that one meal it's great, but 2 days later you're kind of like, your calories weren't increased that much, so you're kind of like ready for more, because it was just kind of like a higher carb day, not necessarily a refeed. So yeah, so it can just definitely be helpful for the mental aspect. Other times when you might want to be doing it, so this is still after 2 months in a deficit, but when you see your progress stalling, because that will probably happen, because your body's adapting, and you're dealing with like all this metabolic adaptation, so like your hormones are kind of all out of whack, and your body's not wanting to burn as many calories because it's not taking in enough calories to like be ready to burn everything. So you might see a stall in your progress, and your strength might start to decrease too, and just increasing your food for a little bit can get that strength up and can get that progress back on track. So I guess the other things to talk about is how it helps. This is kind of like going into like the whole progress stalling thing. So it will help get your hormone levels back to normal. And with this, you can see yourself being less hungry, because now all your hormone levels are getting more normalized. So your ghrelin, your leptin, and your cortisol, which we'll talk about again later. You'll find you're in a better mood, you have more energy, you have less cravings, since you're indulging a little bit more in that, and just your hormones are just all getting back to normal levels. And with that, also it will help kickstart your metabolism. And then you will be consuming extra calories, so you can burn more calories. So that's more energy and more energy expenditure. So you'll be burning more calories with the calories in. And you'll just be feeling a lot more energized, especially after being in a deficit for a while. The energy is crazy. You'll also find more strength and energy for your workouts as well, which is just great, because I know when I'm in a deficit and I'm like in prep mode, I get really sad because my strength goes down, my workouts aren't as enjoyable, I'm pushing myself, but it's just not as fun when you find that your strength is going down. So it's just a good way to get that motivation back up to go to the gym and be ready to lift and really excited to push it in the gym. And then your cortisol levels will decrease with these refeeds and cheat meals, diet breaks. Cortisol is a stress hormone, so when it's elevated, which we talked about this in the last video, any sort of stress will elevate your cortisol levels, since it's the stress hormone. So anything from lack of sleep, hard workouts, being in a deficit, things that you would think of as stress is like work stress, friend stress, family stress, all that stuff increases your cortisol. So with this diet break, it can help decrease your cortisol and bring it back to normal. And when your cortisol levels are increased, then your body is more likely to hold on to that fat. And then we will also find that our I don't know if you'll actually notice it, but your muscles will recover better. So that's just like a good thing that's happening internally. And then, of course, we talked about it. It's a good mental break to have, and it can help obviously crush your cravings. So with these cheat meals, refeeds, and diet breaks, we obviously don't want to go off the chain and like eat everything in sight and everything that we're craving, which at first you might be thinking like, oh, I'm definitely going to do that, but like your body, especially in a deficit, your hunger or or like I guess your stomach levels aren't as large. So even though you might want to eat everything, you will find that there's just not that capacity anymore to consume as many calories. And of course, that's why a diet break might be a good tool to use, because you won't feel the rush to eat everything that you've been craving over the past 2+ months. As you might with like a cheat meal. You might be like, okay, well, what should I get for my cheat meal? I've been craving burgers, I've been craving pizza, I've been craving sushi, I've been craving cake, I've been craving all of this stuff, and then you want it all, and you try to fit it all into one meal, and in the end you just feel really sick and you didn't even enjoy it. So that's when like something like a diet break can be more handy. If you're increasing your calories by like 500 calories a day, that's enough to fit in like a donut one day, and then maybe if you're like feeling like some sushi or something another day, you can kind of like slowly indulge. You're still enjoying your food, you're not over consuming your food, and your body is working in magical ways. So some like personal stuff that I've experienced. So the past 2 years, in 2018 and 2019, I competed in bikini competitions, and I've learned so much. So last year I actually coached myself through prep, and I learned so much from just having 3 competitions and having my like cheat meals after the competitions and seeing how my body responded to them. So when I was in such a deep deficit and then I consumed at least 3,000 calories post show, of course the next day you'll be bloated. So you'll be retaining water. You probably had a higher sodium. You might not have drank so much water. And your body's just going to retain water. It doesn't matter how much you drink. If you ate that many carbs, I think it's for like every gram of glycogen, your body's going to store 3 grams of fluid of water. So you're going to appear more watery, and that's not something that you should be taking too like extremely. Of course you're going to be bloated, of course you're going to be watery, of course the scale's going to be up the next day, but so this was after, we'll call it a cheat meal. So the next day I was up, I think something like 7 pounds or so, and then the day after that I was back to normal. So just really one day in between, because I had the meal at night, so just one day in between I was back to normal. The day after that I actually was at a new low weight. So that's how extreme it was for me. I just I definitely got like a kickstart on my metabolism. My workouts were epic though. Like I went into the gym with a purpose and I was ready to go, and I lifted heavy, and I definitely used that extra fuel for my benefit during that workout. So yeah, that's just kind of like my personal experience, and I know a lot of other competitors and just lifestyle clients in general have had success with refeeds, cheat meals, and diet breaks. So it's a good way to kind of get out of a weight loss plateau, as we were talking about last time. So yeah, so it's a good way to get out of a weight loss plateau. Get right with it mentally too, because being in a deficit is hard. So if for long-term success, we got to do what we got to do, and you'll find that you might actually come out at a lighter weight too. And it might also, just being in like a diet break might allow you to eat more calories post diet break than you would have been able to, just because like your hormones are stabilized and everything's getting back to normal and everything. So I hope that this video was helpful. If it was, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with somebody who this might be helpful for. If you know somebody that's in a plateau right now and they've been in a deficit for a while, and you're kind of like, wow, they've been really grumpy towards me and they're not even seeing progress, so I'd really love to have them see progress, go ahead and give this video a share, and feel free to reach out to me through Instagram, or my email is below. If you have any questions about when you should be implementing these refeeds or diet breaks, or if you have any questions at all, something I did not cover over the video, please give it a comment below, and I will make a new video to go over stuff I might have missed. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.